prevention using student health for drugs and alcohol. Spotlighters, yearbook staff, church choir, church youth group treasurer. Achievements and awards include U.S. History Award, second in Optimist Club speech contest. After graduation, she plans to attend IUPUI and major in mechanical engineering. At this time, Amanda Bach.
For the past 4 years, each of us has looked to someone for encouragement and guidance. Whether it was for academic or personal health, someone was always there. Tonight, we would like to share our success with these special people. It's not what teachers do for us in the classroom and what they teach us in the classroom that makes the biggest difference. It's what they do for us outside and what they teach us about life that makes us remember them and makes them special to us. And that's why I chose the teachers that I did. I chose Mr. Carl Brown because even though I never had him as a teacher, he still was willing to take the time to help me when I needed help. And he's always been willing to do that with any of us who needed anything from him. And my elementary school teacher, Mrs. Hughes, wasn't able to be here tonight, but she instilled in me a sense that no matter what you did, as long as you did your best and you worked as hard as you could at that, that was the best that anyone could have done at it. And she taught me that as long as you go for what you want and you get it, that was the most important thing in the world. And she's meant a lot to me, and she's helped me in lots of different ways, including helping me in different decisions about my future. And my parents have been they've made a big difference in my life. I'm so happy that thank you. Without parents who would support you and help you with what you want to do, I know that at least I couldn't be here today, because if it weren't for all the different things they've done for me, and they've hauled me all over the place, this spotlighter practice, that spotlighter practice, and bought me dresses that now hang in the back of my closet. And they've given me the most memorable 4 years of my life, probably. Thanks.
Bonnie Hughes, Amanda's elementary teacher, wrote a letter I'd like to read to you. I was honored to receive the letter from Amanda Bach inviting me to the Excellence in Academic Achievement and Teaching Banquet on May 29th. I'm extremely sorry I have to decline the invitation due to her previous commitment. Please express my deep appreciation for her remembrance of me and my sincere regret that I will miss the celebration for her. Amanda will always be in my storehouse of school memories as a very special young lady. She brought a sparkle to my classroom with her enthusiasm and quick wit. My best wishes to this extraordinary young lady. We at North Madison are so proud of her. Next, we have Keith Barron. Keith Barron's extracurricular and community activities include varsity basketball, varsity tennis, class president, freshman, sophomore, and junior year, Key Club, secretary, vice president, of Key Club, secretary, vice president, and president, newspaper sports editor, Science, Engineering, and Technology Clubs, Honor Society, of which he was treasurer, Promise Steering Committee as a junior, member of the Friendswood Baptist Church. Achievements and awards include tennis MVP at senior year, Who's Who in high school sports, Who's Who among American high school students, delegate to Hoosier Boys State, senior year, Math Achievement Award his junior year. After graduation, he plans to attend Rose-Hulman Institute of Technology and study electrical or chemical engineering. Keith is coming up. Keith, where are you? Come on up. As Keith is coming up, I'd like to share an aside with you, and that is that some faculty members were talking about his choice of being majoring in electrical or chemical engineering, and many of our faculty feel that because he is so good with young people that we think he'd make a good pediatrician. I talked to him about that. Put my speech in here. Made me feel professional. Before I start my speech, I'm supposed to remind somebody of something. Danielle Green, where are you? Danielle? She's not here? I'm sorry. Well, never mind then. Where's Kurt and Daniel? You guys are already laughing. And I knew you would be. I've had Kurt and Daniel in my GT classes. Well, Daniel all 4 years and Kurt for 3. And they get used to laughing whenever I raise my hand because some of my questions are kind of weird, aren't they? Back in 7th grade, moving away from my friends at Clinton was very difficult. However, moving into Mooresville High School District, or this school district, was as easy as pie. No pun intended, Mr. G. I was so scared, and it turned out that I had absolutely nothing to fear. All of the new students and new teachers that I met were extremely friendly and courteous. And I asked myself, Keith, well, why are all these people so nice to you? In 8th grade, I was young, immature, talkative, and always smiling, which are the 4 characteristics that make junior high teachers wonder. Consequently, the first day at school, in study hall, my new teacher, who was always calm and collected, had a small conflict with me. He didn't get along, or he didn't appreciate my bubbliness. That's it. But after a couple of weeks, we got along really well. Mr. Duncan, yeah. Mr. Duncan made history fun for me. I admired his dry sense of humor. It was a combination of his witty sarcasm and his calm collectiveness that made me laugh. Between all of the history I learned in his class, and all of the times I had to leave his study hall to go talk to Mr. Cook for the entire period, he took a personal interest in my life. I will never forget the date/bet that he set up between Lisa Merriman and I. I lost the bet and had to treat Lisa to dinner at Taco Bell. We ate like pigs, but that's beside the point. I'll never forget the day that Mr. Duncan brought a small radio to school to keep updated on the Purdue IU basketball game that was to be played that afternoon. I told him during 6th period that I would be back 7th period to listen to the game. When 7th period arrived, I walked into his room, interrupting his class, demanding the use of his radio. He kept telling me that I could not use it, and he told me to leave. And the next day, I found out by him that the principal was sitting in the back of his classroom. I really felt terrible. But there were so many memories. And I asked myself again, Keith, why is Mr. Duncan so nice to you? This year, I had another teacher for 2 periods of the day that I developed a friendship with. He was only just one of the best teachers in the building to me until the day that he insisted on giving me a ride home from school one evening because he saw an ambulance at my house earlier. It was then that I knew that he was the best. That's the truth, Mr. G. Please stand.
medical condition always. You were the one who always kept my spirits high and reassured me that those, quote, IU doctors know what they're doing. You were the one that called my house the afternoon of my surgery to see if I had made it through safely. You were the one that was willing to meet me at school on desired evenings to go over observations I had made throughout my year in calculus. You were the one that always gave me a high five in the hallway. You were the one who saw an image in a dream, an image that I would someday be a pediatrician, which is now one of my goals. I let you ride my bike, Mr. G. I don't just let anybody ride my bike. And once again, I ask myself, Keith, I don't get it. Why are these teachers so caring? Well, I know why. Because they are Mooresville teachers. And that is the way that Mooresville teachers are. They care, and it shows. Mr. Duncan and Mr. Grosskreutz, I sincerely thank you, and I will never forget either of you. People make fun of me here at school a lot. They make fun of me because of how I feel about cheaters and how I feel about litter bugs. That in itself hurts worse than knowing that a lot of my friends cheat and or litter. But I do not let that get me down, because I am proud of my good morals. But I would have absolutely no morals if it weren't for my parents. Please rise. Mom and Dad, you may not know this, but you two are the reasons why people respect me and like me. You two molded me, every bit of me, into the person I am today. I believe that good parents not only make the rules, but put in the extra time to make sure that they are enforced. And I'm glad that you enforce the rules, and I'm glad that you were strict with me. And I love you both to infinity, no pun intended, Mr. G. And I wouldn't ever want any two other parents in the world. Now stand by me and watch me fly, because from here, that is what I'm going to do. I'm sorry that my speech took so long. Please forgive me. To all of you, I give a great big hug, because I will miss all of you. Thank you.
You have to have Keith back to write a few things for me when I... That's pretty good. Next is Trina Brown. Trina's extracurricular and community activities include National Honor Society, Vice President, Yearbook Co-Editor, Push for 3 years, Girls Cross Country, Track, Basketball. She's a basketball manager. Awards and achievements includes Times Tri-Kappa Journalism Award, first place in the Optimist Club Essay Contest, second place design and best theme, package at High School Journalism Institute, honorable mention at Bicentennial Fair, honorable mention at the Media Marathon at IUPUI. She plans to attend Indiana University and major in journalism. Trina Brown.
One of the unfortunate things about having the last name Brown is that I always have to follow Keith after the name. I'm lucky to have 3 of the teachers here with me tonight that have had a big influence on my life. The first is my dad. He has been one of the most patient and understanding of really close to each other. And I know that I haven't always made being a dad easy, and there were times that I wasn't very nice to him at all. But he was always exceptionally patient and exceptionally understanding. When I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning and just needed somebody to talk to, he was a little groggy, but he was always there. My next teacher is Ms. O'Neill. When I started junior high, I was afraid of my own shadow, and I was even more afraid of Ms. O'Neill. You're supposed to sing. She made me read aloud to the class when I hadn't volunteered. She called on me when I didn't raise my hand, and she made me do a variety of other things that I would have been much happier just not doing. But her insistence that I participate in class and that I talk loud enough for everyone to hear me was one of the most important things that anybody has ever done for me, and I truly appreciate it. Despite Ms. O'Neill's efforts, when I started high school, I was still painfully shy. And Mrs. Hadley said that one of her goals was to make me rowdy. Some people think she got a bit carried away with that. She not only succeeded in making me a rowdy person, but she's also helped me become a much stronger and happier person. At a time in my life when I didn't really trust anybody, she restored my faith in people. She allowed me to become yearbook editor my junior year. She's taken me to countless workshops and contests and has helped me pursue my career in journalism. She arranged for me to go to IU this fall and meet with all of the journalism professors and graphic arts professors. And she's always been more than willing to help me with anything that I need. And I'm going to miss seeing your smiling face next year.
Next is Shannon Cliff. Extracurricular and community activities include FCA, French Club, Student Council, newspaper staff, senior paper staff, track, basketball, cadet teaching, tutoring, Grace Missionary Youth Group. Achievements and awards include National Honor Society, Boston Lawn Science Award, Basketball Captain and MVP, Kiwanis Youth of the Month. After graduation, she plans to attend Taylor University and pursue a double major in psychology and Christian education, and hopefully play basketball there. Shannon Cliff.
I didn't prepare a fancy speech or anything, but the teacher I invited from junior high was Mr. Rector, and I never had Mr. Rector for a teacher, but he was my basketball coach my 8th grade year. And just to tell you a little bit about him, to take a group of junior high girls, I mean anyone that could take a team of 12 girls in junior high and try to coach them, have a lot of courage. And even though I never had him for a teacher, he's the kind of guy that he doesn't say a lot with his words, but his actions and his examples speak louder than any words could ever speak. And our 8th grade year, our basketball season, our group of girls never got along very well, and he worked very hard with us that year and took us to a winning season that was pretty unbelievable. But I don't think, but I went and talked to him before he got his letter about coming to this, and he said, well, I never knew I had that big of an impact on you. And that's him. He never goes out, he never tries to take credit for the things that he does, but his example to me was just amazing. The extra time he spent with us on and off the court, bumping us around on the court, trying to make us stand up for who we are, and the gross things that he allowed us to do, our belching contest. And he taught us wonderful things, but we'll always remember him for that. And he stuck by us all the way through this year, and he took us out to a movie this year, and he's done a lot for us all the way up through this year, and he's being brave and taking us to Kings Island. And he's been one of those quiet people that sits in the back, but he's been a real strong example for me. My high school teacher is Steve Hillegoff, and Linda's here with me too. I first met Steve, and a lot of people first meet Steve and they don't know quite what to think. They either like him or they don't like him. I was kind of afraid of him. But I had him for summer gym, and he kind of took a real special interest in me that summer, and he got me involved in FCA and sent me to numerous camps and numerous workshops. And he's kind of been a quiet bystander too. He's kind of sat back and encouraged me and let me go the wrong way and then bring me back the right way. And, through the 4 years of high school, he's had a really big impact on my life, and he's taught me to do neat things like he let me help him build his Kids and Eagles nest, which is this big thing that goes in your backyard, and it's quite an interesting thing, and it was quite an interesting experience to use that power tool, and and him not to be afraid to let me use the power tool. But I've had a kind of interesting 4 years with him, and I really appreciate both of the teachers that I invited for their quiet examples that they set and always encouraging me. And my mother's here. You stand, Mom? I really want to thank my mom for coming tonight, and I really appreciate the support that you've given me all the way through, taking me to basketball, taking me to wherever I needed to go. And I just really appreciate you coming tonight and showing your support once again.
For those of you who don't know, I was freshman girls basketball coach for a while, and I always wondered, Byron, why those girls burped all the time. Our next student is Amy Cochran. Amy's extracurricular and community activities that she's participated in are Spanish Club, two-time participant in Optimist Club Oratorical Contest, two-time participant in the BFW Essay Contest, helper of the annual GUARD competition, 2-year member of PUSH, 4-year guidance office aide, senior paper staff member, math English tutor, English teacher for 2 Mexican girls, Spanish teacher at local daycare center, participant in National Bicentennial Competition on the Constitution and Bill of Rights, member of Five Points Baptist Church, concession worker at the Pioneer Park Pool and Recreation. Achievements and awards include 3-year recipient of Spanish Award, Beginning Accounting Award, honorary mention for Bicentennial Fair, 2nd place winner of VFW Essay Contest, local winner of Optimist Club Oratorical Contest. After graduation, she plans to attend IUPUI and pursue a major in business and travel and tourism with a minor in Spanish. I went to Amy and asked her if she would give our invocation, and it was a real interesting conversation. We bonded at that moment, I think. She was helping me. I thought I was trying to help her, but she really was great. Amy?
First, I'd like to, the reason I'm here is to stand up, my mom and dad. patience and time and money and all the stuff that goes into high school that makes your child successful. And my teachers that I picked, first I picked Mrs. Snap. She told me that I couldn't cry and I had to be funny, so I'll dedicate my speech to Brownie, Whitey, and Matilda. Personal joke if you know. I've known Mrs. Snap since I was little, and I had her, it was just this year that I had her as a teacher. I never really got to know what kind of person she was until this year, and it wasn't really her teaching that impressed me, it was the fact that she's a very strong and independent woman. She's managing a family right now and trying to go to school and go to college and work, and she does it very well. And also I notice, I observe, I don't really talk in her class that much, I just observe the things that she says and what she does. And I notice that she has a lot of neat ideas for the school, and she's really trying to make some improvements, and she's got a lot of good ideas, and I just hope that she has a chance to fulfill her goals, and the people that come after us will have the chance to see the results of it. And for my next teacher, I picked Mrs. Caserman, and when I was in, those of you that know me at all know that I've always hated math. It's always been my worst subject. I'll never like it. And when I went into junior high, I was tired of going to a new school, much less having Sergeant Caserman for a teacher. My sister informed me that that was her nickname, and she said, don't pay attention to it, she's not really like that, and I believed her and found out that she was right. Really saucy. And probably the thing that impressed me the most about her was that if you didn't understand something, you always knew that she was there to help you, and if you didn't go get help and your grade showed it, it wasn't her fault, it was your fault. And the other thing was that, well, sometimes when she was teaching, I thought she was going to go crazy, but then I always knew that any math teacher had to be a little crazy. But what I really admire is that it's one thing to teach a class, it's a totally different thing to teach a class so that your students understand it and make it fun at the same time. And that's something that she really excels in, and I'm sure that I know that I'm not the only one who's noticed that. And finally, to Keith Barron, if it wasn't for him and all the toxic cookies and potato chips in the refrigerator that he emptied at my house whenever he came over, I would not have got the grades I did in math. And all his help and patience. I know sometimes he wanted to kill me because I was so stupid and I couldn't see it his way, which is of course the right way. But I'm cool like you.
I'm sure that some of the members of the top 20 graduating seniors did struggle with different courses over time. And I did a compilation that I've not done with the 5 previous banquets that we've had, and that's to figure the top 20 graduating seniors' GPA collectively. And Amy said that she had trouble with math, that she hated math, that she will always hate math. I won't go on math teachers, but the GPA for this group of collective group of top 20 seniors is 3.739. So they may have struggled, but they still made a lot better grades than I did. Okay. Next is Tim Coleman. Extracurricular and community activities include Key Club, German Club, Drama Club, and Church Youth Group. Achievements and awards include Boys State. After graduation, he plans to attend Rolls-Holman and major in electrical engineering. Tim Coleman.
Well, I'd like to start off by thanking all of the teachers teachers that have put up with me through all the years. Quit nodding your head. I'm sure that I haven't been one of your favorite students to actually put up with. One of the teachers that I chose was an elementary teacher that I had back in 5th grade that I had, received fresh. I was one of the first ones to have her, and that's Mrs. Phillips from Neil Armstrong. Mrs. Phillips is a teacher that I had always enjoyed having. She is a teacher that did not make the students feel like they were just an elementary student. She was one that made you feel just about like her equal, which there were quite a few years difference in between you and her. But she's just a teacher that I always loved having. She made class fun. She always had a smile, and up to this day, she still has a smile every time she sees me. She's one of my favorite students, which I feel, even if I'm not, I feel like I've been one of her favorite students too. She always had a sense of humor that I loved in class. We just always got along. I'd like to thank you for that. The other teacher that I chose is a teacher that is well respected by everyone. If you ask several students from anywhere from our age, seniors on up, for several years, the one teacher that has made a difference in their life is Mr. Alexander. Mr. Alexander retired just recently, a little over a year ago. And one thing that I'm sorry about is that there aren't more kids that will be able to have him in class. He's still teaching at IUPUI, which if children decide to go to college there, then they'll still be able to have him, which that's good, but there will be a lot of students that miss out on having him. Mr. Alexander is a teacher that I feel always gave me his best, even when I truthfully never gave him my best. But he's a student that I had as a sophomore for chemistry that I really enjoyed having. He used to always decorate the room for Christmas, which was really neat, and I missed not having last year, which was the first year that we've been without it for several years. But he's a teacher that I'd really like to thank too. And lastly, but certainly not least, my parents. Stand. I'm sure they really enjoyed trying to raise me. And I'm sure it's been a real job from birth all the way up. They've been parents that have stuck by me through the years from the very beginning. They've really supported me and known what I could do, even if I didn't know what I was capable of, and certainly if I didn't live up to it. I'm sure that they know that I didn't quite live up to it all those years. But they still kept on believing in me, and they still kept supporting me, even when I'm sure I let them down quite a few times. They've been there through all the hard times, and especially through things that have come up lately. They've really bent over backwards in their support for me. They said that they'd do anything that I needed through college, through life, through any of the other things that have arisen lately. And if there's any way that they can help me, just let them know. I'd really like to thank you for that.
Our next student is Billy Koss. Extracurricular and community activities include choir, business manager for yearbook, baseball for 3 years, float building, key club, co-captain of government competition class. Achievements and awards include reserve letter for baseball, mental attitude in varsity choir, social studies award junior year, $1,000 scholarship from junior achievement. After graduation, plans to attend Indiana University and major in business management. Billy Koss.
When I chose my elementary teacher, I almost got hurt real bad. But the teacher I chose was Mrs. Martha Cook from Neil Armstrong. She was our 6th grade teacher, and I could tell by the way Tanya reacted from my choice that she had quite an impression on everyone. If you could please stand, Mrs. Cook. One of the things Mrs. Cook showed me was that it was possible that while you were at school to learn things, that you were there to also have fun. And one of the ways she showed me this was on recess she used to come out and play football with us. She was pretty tough. Another one of the things she showed me was how much she cared about us. One of the ways she did this was, remember every Friday, as we were leaving our class, we all had to get in a single file line and give Mrs. Cook a big hug. And I don't know if maybe it was just me, but I don't know, for a kid in 6th grade giving a teacher a hug is wild. Another thing that showed me how much she cared was towards the end of our 6th grade year, she took a big chance, I guess you could say. She invited 20-some 6th graders over to her house on a Saturday for a party. And I don't think I'll ever forget that party. My high school teacher isn't at the school anymore. It's Mrs. Raymond. I'm sure anyone that's had anything to do with the choirs at the school will remember Mrs. Raymond. She was another teacher who made school fun by the way she acted and just joked around. One of the things Mrs. Raymond gave me was good self-esteem, and she showed me that I could be whatever I wanted. One of the ways she did this, and I'll never forget this either, was our 8th grade year, the last day of school, we're having a big convocation for the whole school, 7th and 8th grades both. So Mrs. Raymond calls out someone for a choir award, it wasn't me. So before she gives the student the award, she says how much she wants to tell all the girls in both grades that I should be the catch, and they should go for me now. At the time, it was quite embarrassing. But now I realize that maybe, even if they shouldn't all go for me now, that I can be whoever I wanted and whatever I wanted. 2 other people who have made me the person I am are my parents. One of the things my parents have taught me is how to be self-reliant, but they've also been there whenever I need them. They also showed me how important family is. I'll never forget one time, me and my dad were going somewhere, and on the way back he said something to the extent of, all anyone ever has is family friends. And I realized how much it meant. And even though I don't always like the things they make me do, I understand just what they've done.
Next is Brett Curtis. Extracurricular and community activities include wrestling, track, soccer, the sophomore class president, junior class student council, and is now senior class president. Achievements and awards include honor roll, track ribbons, soccer trophies. After graduation, he plans to attend Purdue University and major in computer science. Brett Curtis.
Well, I remember back when I was in 5th grade, my parents got divorced. And it was kind of tough for me to handle. I was really at a strange age where I'm not old enough to understand why they did it, but I'm old enough to understand how hurt I was. And to get my feelings out, I was able to talk to my teacher, Mr. Snyder. Please stand up. Me and Mr. Snyder would have many recess chats where instead of playing on the playground like I should have been, I would be sitting there talking to her about my parents. But I look back on it and I appreciate it very much. My high school teacher is Mrs. Phillips. Mrs. Phillips also helped me through a problem with my step-parents, which also caused a problem with me. And she gave me a lot of confidence, like my junior year, and gave me a lot of trouble for trying to steal her Zoosh move all the time, which I got away with But I look back and I thank her a lot for everything she did for me. Our talks weren't really recessed, but I do appreciate it. She was the first person to hear my stand-up junior year wagon trails. Helped me with that too. She didn't laugh. I waited for you to laugh. And then my sister, Chris Wisting. Chris really helped me out the most by getting me out of a bad situation and letting me move in with her and taking me under her wing, so to speak. And now I can go home to a home that everyone in the home loves me, and I love to be home, and I thank her a lot for that. Thank you.
Next is Scott Huter. Extracurricular and community activities include Spotlighters, Key Club, Honor Society, football, basketball, golf, yearbook staff, Honors College program at Ball State. Achievements and awards include Player of the Year for the Mooresville Times, all metro area and suburban teams for football, all conference and all state academic teams also for football, Most Improved Player Award in football 1992. After graduation, he plans to attend GMI to study mechanical engineering as a co-op for Wellman Thermal Systems. Scott Huter.
Well, they always say there's tiers. I'm 20 banquets and I haven't seen it yet, so I guess I'll keep the tradition on. The first teacher I'd like to, that I picked from elementary school was Judy Milburn, if she'd please stand. Judy Milburn is like my second mom. Of course, I have a wonderful mom, but it never hurts to have two, especially the way I was when I was young. A lot of people can vouch for me on that one. When I was young, a lot of people here know me. I did a lot of crazy things. My dad, being mechanically inclined, always let me do a lot of crazy things, and I did a lot of crazy things. And I can remember one memory when me and Kurt, behind their barn, we were lighting matches behind their barn trying to start a fire, and we didn't realize there was a 5-gallon gas can right on the other side. And, well, his mom straightened us out on that one, but... And then there's the time when I took the tractor apart with my new tools, and I think that's why it didn't run so well today. But anyways, even after all those incidents, me and Kurt, I probably caused most of the problems and got me in a lot of trouble, but she still let me hang around, and I appreciate her for it. She was a wonderful art teacher, although I can't draw anything today. I can't draw, I can't paint, I can't do anything that comes to art, but I'm sure that's not her fault. But I really appreciate her for that. She's really been instrumental in my life. She's just been like a second mom all my life, and I want to thank her for that. The second person that I picked was Mr. Norbert Johnson. Please stand. If you don't know this man and you go to this high school, then I don't know where you've been. He's here. His doors are open, and he's here no matter what's going on. And he taught me. It was weird because I came here. I think I was in 6th grade, and I walked into school. And I was with Kurt, his dad. We were with his dad, and school wasn't in. We were just walking the halls, and he probably doesn't remember this, but I do, because it was a long time ago. I walk in, and it was just when the auditorium had been, the new auditorium had been built. We were walking through the halls, and we really weren't supposed to be there. And he turns around and practically chews me and Kurt out for being in there, because we really had no business. And I go, man, who is that? And Kurt goes, that's Mr. Johnson. I go, man, I hope I don't get him when I get up here. So here I come, my sophomore year, and I got him for geometry, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Because I always talk a lot, and I always talk a lot, and I'm loud, and I always try to get my 2 cents in. I thought, man, we're just not going to jive. Our personalities aren't going to mix. So I was going into my geometry class, and I thought, man, I don't know how this year's going to turn out, and I want to learn this stuff. And I get in there, and it's just unbelievable how this man, he is the first teacher in this high school that made you feel like a person, makes you feel like you're not just a kid, you're not just here to learn, you're a human being, and I want to treat you like an adult. And he lets you do things that teachers probably don't even know about in this school. He took us on a tour of the catwalk and on top of the building and all these places that kids get in trouble for being there, but you know, it was fun. And I thought in kindergarten, they have all these toys and you go to first grade and there's not so many toys, and you get older and there's no more toys and you kind of get upset until you get to Mr. Jumpy's class and you got toys again. You got lots of toys. He always let us play with his toys. We didn't figure most of them out, but that was all right. They were still fun, and I really appreciate Mr. Johnson for everything he's done. Last but not least, for my parents, if they please stand up. It's hard to talk about this because, I don't know, I'm sure I'm a pain a lot of times because I'm in everything and I'm always, you probably heard this before if you went to the basketball section. Well, I said the same thing, but it's the truth. My parents put up with a lot. I know a lot of you probably realize that everybody's in a lot of stuff. Everybody's tired when they get home. In the winter, you don't even see the sun. It's crazy. You come to school in the dark, and you leave the school in the dark, and it's like Alaska, but it's not. and my parents, they taught me a lot. They said no a lot of times, and I didn't want them to say no. And they've said no, and I really appreciate that. And my parents have taught me. It's really interesting because my parents, they've made mistakes, and they know they've made mistakes, and they're willing to admit their mistakes and show me. They're willing to say, hey, I made this mistake. You don't make that mistake, And I love my parents. They've given me a great life, and I really appreciate them a lot.
I was waiting, as probably many of you, for Scott to raise his football helmet and lead us in a few chorus of Illinois Lily. I was just waiting. I'd like to hear that one more time. That was fun. Next is Marie Kober. Extracurricular and community activities include 4-year varsity cross country, 3-year varsity basketball, 2-year varsity track, French club, Letterman's Club, National Honor Society. Achievements and awards include Mental Attitude Award for cross country for sophomore and junior years, Presidential Scholarship from Ball State University. After graduation, she plans to attend Ball State University. Marie Kober.
I chose Mr. Crowley as my junior high teacher. Probably, not really because I was in the classroom, but he took time out of the classroom to play tennis with me. He must have thought, I think he picked me because he knew he could beat me at tennis. But he'd sit there, I think it might have been because of how short I was, because he did this one thing, this slice or something, I still don't know what it is, and the ball would always go over my head, and I never be able to get it. But, singing. Alright, and my high school teacher, I picked Mr. Graves. I never had a chance to have Mr. Graves as a teacher because I didn't take physics freshman year. But I had him as a cross-country coach my freshman, sophomore, and junior year. And it really meant a lot to me because my freshman year, I only ran cross-country because my friends and everything were in it. But it ended up being a lot of fun. And I ended up not doing that bad thanks to Mr. Graves. He made camp. We had a cross-country camp, and everyone thinks how awful cross-country camp would be and everything, because they think all you do is run, but really we didn't want to run that much. We had boat races and different sorts of things, and he'd sit there, and he was in the boat races with us, and he won when he was in them, though, but basketball, and they have 3 kids, and they're always taking everyone, all of us everywhere. They always go to all our meets and basketball games and everything. My brother had band tonight, so my dad's there. And my mom, I never can remember times or anything, so she normally takes me places like 2 or 3 times. Like once she had to drive like an hour and a half to this gymnastics meet, and we drove in the morning, and it wasn't until that afternoon, so we had to drive home and we drove back up there. And what did she have to do? She didn't say anything about it. So I just want to thank them for always being there and always taking me places.
We have hand. I hope you want one as bad as I want you to have. We'll see. We'll see. Next is Crystal Lee. Extracurricular and community activities include student body president, of which she is right now, student council member for 4 years, secretary of National Honor Society, member of yearbook staff, member of PUSH and tennis. Achievements and awards include Hoosier Scholar Award, Journalism Scholarship to IU, Presidential Scholar at North Central College, of which she received an award of $8,000 per year. After graduation, she plans to attend Purdue University or North Central College and study engineering or medicine. Crystal Lee.
I brought my Kleenex, so I'll probably be the first to cry. I believe that the first couple of years in education are probably one of the most important. The things you learn in kindergarten and first grade carry you through the next 12 years. My first grade teacher was Mrs. Myers. Please stand. She taught me a lot of things, and I remember some cute things that have stayed with me. I used to sit in the back row next to Scott Huter, and like he said, he's loud and obnoxious sometimes. Well, I stood there one day, and you know how 6th graders just kind of have runny noses all the time, and I was sitting back there, and I had to sneeze, and all of a sudden it just came out of nowhere, and I sneezed. And I looked down, and I had this snot all over me. I mean, it was everywhere. It was bright green. And I was so embarrassed. And I looked over, and Scott is looking at me and pointing and laughing as loud as he can. And I was just in tears because he just made me so embarrassed. So I ran up to Mrs. Myers' desk, kind of looked at me. She started wiping me off, and I said, Scott's laughing at me, and he's making fun of me. And she said, Crystal, we don't listen to boys. And she's right, we don't. And then another time I remember we used to do board races all the time, and I'd get up there, and I was real quick, and 2 + 2 is 4, and I whipped through the whole class, and nobody could beat me. And Jennifer McPhee comes up there one day, and she whispers to me, let me win, let me win. So I get up there, and I'm like, 2 + 3, and I let her win. And I go to sit down, and Mrs. Myers looks at me, and she winks, because she knew what I did. She knew I let her win. And then after class, she said to me, she said, you know, you're a very nice lady. You're a very nice young lady. And I just want you to know that I think you're a nice woman. And I want to thank you for giving me what you did and sending me in the right direction. And also for starting a wonderful friendship between me and Jennifer. And possibly Scott. Picking my high school teacher was kind of hard because I could have picked anybody in the entire school. And like Keith said, Mooresville teachers, you know that they care. And you can see that they care. And there's not a teacher in the whole Mooresville Corporation that I couldn't pick and come up here and honor. But I chose my freshman advanced comp teacher, Mr. Joel Beebe. sports banquet the other night, and he said, I got your top 20 letter, and I really appreciate that. He said, I haven't even had you as a teacher since you were a freshman. And that's the neat thing about it, because when I came in here, I had him as a freshman, and for 4 years he has followed me. He follows my extracurricular activities, my grade cards. And there's not a grade card that comes by that he's not there waiting to see what I got on it. And I appreciate you being a great influence, being an inspiration to me to do good, to do well on my report cards, to do good in school, to be involved. And he always has this thing where he asks me, staying out of trouble? I guess I put too much in my journals when I was a freshman. But I mean, he's an affectionate guy, because he'd always come in when I was a freshman and just tap me on the shoulder and kind of punch me and play around. And then he got onto this little Mr. BB medium 5 here. Every time I see him in the hallway, he'd give me a little 5 and wink at me and ask me how I'm doing. And I want to thank you for that. I want to give you a final 5. Thank you very much, Mr. B. Oh, and another thing I forgot. One of the football players said to me one time, you know, Mr. Beebe must really like you, because I've had him for a coach for 4 years, and the man's never said 3 words to me. He's kind of a quiet type of guy, he is. Today in Mrs. Yeager's class, she passed out an article, and I think she wanted us going out the door in tears or something. And I read the article. It was about an Ann Landers article, and she was talking about things that she would change if she had the chance to go back and change in her life. And there is one thing that I would change, and it's my family, and I'd like my mom and dad to see it. A lot of you probably haven't seen my mom and dad before, because it's not often that they get a chance to come to what I'm involved in. And you've probably never seen my dad so dressed up, and neither have I. He's pretty handsome, though. And I wish that I could turn back time and have been more involved in the things that I was in high school. I wish I would have told them more that I appreciate how hard they worked, how much they gave up to give me every day of my life. And I know that you're proud of me. My dad looked at me tonight and he said, I know I don't tell you enough, but I'm proud of you, Crystal. And I'm proud of you too. And I know I don't tell either one of you enough, but I love you. And I want to thank you.
Those little blue and white packets when we were... Mr. Johnson came in, he thought that was a mistake at first, but no, they're there for a reason. You'll figure that out soon. Daniel Love. Extracurricular and community activities include 4 years on the tennis team, 2 years in Spotlighters, 2 years in Key Club. Also, he's a member of National Honor Society. Achievements and awards include varsity leader on the tennis team, of which he played number 2 singles. After graduation, he plans to attend Purdue and major in aviation flight technology to become a commercial pilot. Daniel Love.
First of all, I'd like to apologize to Mrs. Knapp for giving Amy the name of your cat. But you've been a great neighbor for 14 years and a great teacher for a semester, and I wish I could have had you for more than just a semester. The elementary teacher I chose was Mrs. Sylvia Graves, the music teacher at Neil Armstrong. Would you please stand up? She was one of the most entertaining teachers I had in elementary school. And I looked forward to music class every week. It was just very enjoyable. And Mrs. Mobius, she's the one that first decided I was a tenor, so you have her to thank for that. And I still am, so. She had just, I'll never forget the songs we sang, and they'll always stay in my head, and it was just so much fun. And just, whenever you said Spotlighters are coming to visit, I was just so I don't know, I just thought that was just such a goal to achieve, to become a spotlighter, and I can just Mobius thank for that, for putting me in there for 2 years, and it's nice to see that Miss Grace has come up to me and told me how good I've done, and that she can watch me and just see me how good I've done to all my music and everything. My high school teacher I chose was Miss Sue Stewart. You can please stand. I first met Mrs. Stewart when I was in 5th grade, and most kids don't get to meet their high school teachers before they even get to junior high. But I had no idea I'd have her for a teacher. And I took a special course on the weekends they had like electives you could take, and I took aerospace. And her husband taught it, and she came to a lot of classes. And that's about 4th grade was when my parents first took me to Florida, and we flew, and I just fell in love with flying, and I decided way back then that was my career goal, to become a pilot. And she taught me so much, and just learning anything about flying, and her husband, and they took us over to Allison at the airport, and I'll never forget that field trip we took. I don't know why, it was just something really special. And coming to high school, I had her for geometry freshman, and yes, she has toys too, like Mr. Johnson. Played a lot of puzzles and games and everything. And she was an excellent geometry teacher, and I really enjoyed that class because being a freshman is like I didn't know what to expect, being geometry and everything. It's like, gosh. And I had her for college algebra and trigonometry as a junior, and she was a great teacher, and chemistry. I've had her for so much. And lastly, I'd like to thank my parents, Dennis and Donna Wolf, and his family. They've just supported me in everything I've done, and they've just always taught me to do my best. No matter what I do, if I come home with a bad grade or anything, they say, well, you did your best, that's all that counts, is do your best, and that's what I've done. And my dad when I was little, I used to always get worried all the time. I used to always just worry about everything. My dad always said, think positive, and like, there's been so many times in my life I've thought about negative things, and just think positive, and it's worked so far. It's going to work in the future. And my mom's been a lot of help. She has her nice religious side to her, and I'm going to make sure I keep it. Anytime anything happens, she always prays. She has all these like saints she prays to. If you lose something, you pray to who is a saint. I don't know. Well, the saint for the animals is St. Francis, so we buried our cat. My mom has a big statue of St. Francis in the backyard, and we buried our cat back there, and I think a couple goldfish. And it's just neat when, like she says, oh, pray to the saint, and it'll come true. And when I was little, I had this little blanket I always carried around. And I don't know, whenever I lost it, I would just flip. I went crazy because I didn't have my blanket. And my mom would say, pray to so-and-so, and I'd find it, and I found it. So, and my dad, oh gosh, just anytime I'm down or feeling bad, his sense of humor is just great, and I just love it, and that's just, gosh, it's just neat to have a dad with a sense of humor like that, because it can always brighten you up, and I know he's passed it on to me, because I know I can make a lot of people laugh too and stuff, and I just love him, man. I love you guys.
Next is Jennifer McPhee. Extracurricular and community activities include basketball, softball, spotlighters. She's a member of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, member of Student Council, belongs to the National Honor Society, played volleyball, member of French Club, member of the First Christian Church. Achievements and awards include Most Improved Player for softball in the season 1991, and the Mental Attitude Award winner for basketball in 1992. After graduation, she plans to go to Indiana University and major in nursing. Jennifer McPhee.
First of all, I think every teacher that every single person has some influence on them, no matter what it is. So I'd like to thank all my teachers that I've had throughout my 13 years, including kindergarten, of high school, and starting at kindergarten. My kindergarten teacher was Miss Pat Overholzer. Would you please stand? And before then, I really didn't know her, but like the book, there's a book called All I Need to Know. Wait, was it All I Really Need to Know? I learned in kindergarten, and she kind of taught me everything I knew, really, besides what my parents taught me what to do, you know, share. I didn't ever share with my sisters, but she taught me to share with friends. And she let me find my first love, which was Mr. Kurt Milburn in kindergarten. But they became a big part of my family. They're friends of my family, so she has watched me grow up, and she has become a big influence on my life. She's no longer a teacher, but she's gone on with her life, and she's opened her own businesses with kids, and it's really been fun watching her teach kids and teach them what they all need to know, even before they're in kindergarten now. And when I always used to go to daycare with my mom because my mom worked for her, and she'd just treat me like one of the kids, and she would always just look at me and smile, and every time I saw her, she had a smile on her face, and it made me feel good. And I also picked for my high school teacher, Miss Mobius. Will you please stand? I've always enjoyed music, as Mrs. Graves would know, ever since elementary school. And I've always looked forward to being a spotlighter. It was always my dream to be a spotlighter because of my older sisters. And once the Raymonds left, I didn't think anybody else could fill their big shoes that they left, but throughout the 4 years, she did it. She's the person that I've had all 4 years of my high school career, and not many students get to have the same teacher all 4 years, but I got to have her, and we didn't get along sometimes. You know, we got along a lot sometimes, and we'd have our little talks in our little back room, and we'd always gossip about people, and nobody knows that, but we'd have our little gossiping things, and a couple of times not too long ago when senioritis did some, I skipped her class, and she kind of got mad, and I thought I kind of lost her respect, and I'm sure I did a lot, and I'm sorry, but I hope she forgives me for that one. But I think that the teachers and the people that have real big influences on you are because of your parents, and both of those teachers I picked are so much like my parents. It's scary sometimes. I mean, Miss Mobius, when I got in trouble, she goes, and this sounded so much like my mom, she goes, "Come here now, let me help you pick out your punishment." And my mom would always say that to me. She wouldn't just give me a punishment, she'd say, "All right, now what should your punishment be, Jennifer?" And it made me think about it, and that's probably one of the worst punishments you could have, but both of them would do that. And Mrs. O was the same way. Her and my mom get along really well, and it all ties in with the family. I have one of the best. I'm sorry, I like my family the best, but I think it's the best. I love you guys. And my family has been so wonderful to me. They've been everything. I mean, I go to school, I go to practice. Sometimes I don't even go eat dinner, and then you go to spots. And you don't even see them, but they go to everything. Everything I do. Oh, will you please stand? Now that I got up crying. This is my mom and great morals. They made me believe that I'm a good person inside, and I think that everyone needs to have a good image on themselves, and they need to like themselves. And the reason I like myself is because I like my parents, and I know they like me.
I don't know how many of you know, but I am the assistant principal in charge of discipline, and I didn't know that Jennifer cut class. Jennifer Steaming Monday we'll talk about. Next is Kurt Milburn, extracurricular and community activities.